Over 30 years ago, my next guest started an advertising agency called Ogilvy and Mather. Today, it is one of the largest in the world, and he is considered one of the fathers of the industry. His latest book is entitled Ogilvy on Advertising. Please welcome David Ogilvy. David, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much for being here. The book is very informative. Anybody interested in a career in advertising should certainly do themselves a favor and take a look at that thing, huh?
Damn right.
Yeah. You've been responsible for some legendary ad campaigns. Do you want to start listing off a few of them for folks?
Oh, there have been so many. I did good advertising for Rolls-Royce many years ago, and for Hathaway shirts, you know, the man with the patch on his eye.
That was your idea to have a guy like that?
Yeah, he was my client. And what else? Hathaway shirts, Schweppes,
Yeah.
Commander Whitehead. You remember him selling Schweppes for 20 years, 30 years? And Dove toilet soap, you know that?
Yeah.
Well, I've done hundreds of them. I've probably done as much advertising as any living man.
Well, at the time, what was going through your mind to think that a man with missing an eye would be a good way to sell dress shirts?
I'd seen some research which showed that if you can inject into the ad an element of story appeal, you do well. People read the ad. They look at that. They say, who is this man with an eye patch? That takes about a tenth of a second.
Yeah.
And they want their curiosity speak. So then they go under the picture and read the copy, and that's how you sell the shirts.
So building in a little fantasy with the product.
Exactly so. It's easier said than done.
Yeah. Now, the classic Rolls-Royce campaign, that was print stuff, wasn't it?
That was all, it was a very small budget, and I had this headline, which got to be well known. At 60 miles an hour, the loudest noise in this new Rolls-Royce comes from the electric clock.
Yeah.
And I remember when I presented that to the client, they were all engineers at Rolls-Royce, electric clock, and the head man at Rolls-Royce, very serious. He said, we really must do something about that damn clock.
People bringing it into the shop all the time.
But it doubled the sales of Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, that's amazing. What also the Pepperidge Farm guy?
Yeah, that was a big idea. It's the only advertising campaign I ever dreamed. I had to get an idea to sell Pepperidge Farm bread long ago, before you were born. And I couldn't get an idea. I just didn't have an idea. Awful. I was going to fail. And I went to bed and went to sleep. 2 o'clock in the morning, I had a dream. And I dreamed of an old baker driving along a lane with 2 white horses going to deliver Pepperidge Farm bread. And I woke up, by sheer good luck, and I wrote it down.
Yeah.
The next morning, I went into the office, I made the commercial, and those 2 white horses are still delivering that bread.
That's right.
28 years later.
So things that you came up with early in your career are still mainstays of modern advertising, aren't they?
Well, of a lot of it. Yeah. That's the great thing. If you can't have an idea when you're awake, go to sleep.
Yeah. Tell me about the first ad campaign that you launched. Do you remember that one?
Oh, that's terribly embarrassing. I was a callow kid, and I was advertising cooking stoves. And I showed the famous Manet painting, Déjeuner sur l'herbe, where the naked model is having lunch in the Bois de Boulogne with 3 painters. And
here it is, right there.
There it is. Isn't that awful? I don't mean it's awful because it's improper. It isn't. Manet didn't think so, and I don't think so. But what the hell did a nude girl have to do with a cooking stove? I know better now. We all have to start.
At the time, I guess you were just trying to get folks' attention, or?
I was playing the fool.
Yeah. Now, but how...
Grew out of that.
There are good ways to use sex in advertising, I would guess, as well as not good ways.
Well, it depends what you're selling. If you're selling toilet soap, you're selling bath oil, it's pretty hard not to show a girl in a bathtub.
Yeah.
I saw a commercial in Athens the other day, which is a little bit sexy. It's selling pantyhose, and I think the sexiness in it is relevant. Would you like to see it?
Is that the one we have here?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, this would be...
It's from Athens in Greece.
All right.
It's very difficult to do advertising in Athens because there aren't any copywriters. There are more prime ministers than copywriters.
All right, we'll take a look at it's a pantyhose commercial, David?
Yeah.
Presently running in Greece.
Ένα νέο καλσόν. Το μόνο μελοξίραφι στο σλιπάκι για να κάνει το πόδι συναρπαστικά από κάτω ως πάνω. Αμάντα. Δύσκολο να τα αντέξεις. Νέο καλσόν Αμάντα.
Yeah. Now, there's I don't know if you've seen it. There's one that is advertising an orange drink. in this country. It's just pretty much unbelievable.
I haven't seen it.
Along the same lines. What about celebrities in commercials? Is that a good way to go?
Well, I used to use celebrities in commercials. I know better now, because what happens is that, first of all, everybody knows the consumer's been bought, and that doesn't make them very credible. Secondly, they cost like hell. It's a waste of money. And third, and most serious, people remember the celebrity and forget the product. I don't do it now. I've got some better research. But I used to do it.
Yeah.
I did it once notoriously, and I'm embarrassed by that, too.
Oh, you have an example of
Yeah, I've got a
mistake
celebrity, and I don't suppose anybody here tonight remembers her because they're so young.
Okay, do
And
you
that
want
was Mrs. Roosevelt,
Eleanor Roosevelt.
the widow of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I got her to
Okay.
make some commercials.
This is a commercial with Eleanor Roosevelt. What, do you know the date on this?
Oh, about 100 years
I
ago.
wonder if you realize that more than 2/3 of the people in the world are underfed. I certainly wish we could find more ways to use the tremendous capacity of our American farmers to produce vast quantities of food. I'm confident that America could lead the way in helping to feed the starving people of the world. I hope that more ways can be found to send them good, nutritious foods, like the new Good Luck margarine. Years ago, most people never dreamed of eating margarine, but times have changed. Nowadays, you can get a margarine like the new Good Luck, which really tastes delicious. That's what I've spread on my toast. Good Luck. I thoroughly enjoy it.
The margarine Mrs. Roosevelt has just recommended is new Good Luck, the light margarine.
Why did she do that?
You know, I wrote that inane speech for her to make, but it didn't seem silly at the time. The times changed. Why did she do it? $35,000, that's why.
Wow.
And I regretted it was not my finest hour. My Republican friends said, how could you use that woman? And my liberal friend said, dragging Mrs. Roosevelt through the gutter of Madison Avenue. And I'm sorry, people remembered Mrs. Roosevelt, but they couldn't remember the name of the margarine. That was the mistake.
Did you, so it obviously didn't sell any margarine.
No, didn't sell anything.
Yeah.
I was devoted to that woman, a wonderful woman.
You also have had some experience, aside from being an advertising man, as a chef?
Yes, I started my life, my career as a chef in Paris. Very rare, a Scotch chef in Paris, but that I was. And that was hard work. I worked 63 hours a week. And I remember one day, I was decorating frogs' legs. Very difficult. A frog has very small legs, and I had to get this beautiful decoration on its thigh. It wasn't cooking. It was jewelry. It was Fabergé. And the head chef came over to watch me. And he watched me, and he signaled for all the other chefs to the 35 to come around. I thought, son of a... going to farm, and he wants an audience. And when they were all around, I went on working, my hands trembling, my legs knocking together like castanets. He pointed at my work and he said to the others, that is the way to do it. It was the proudest moment of my whole life until about 2 hours later, when he took me up to the kitchen and to the dining room, opened the door and pointed into the dining room. There I saw the President of France eating my dog's legs, my frog's legs.
We'll come back here. We'll be right back with David Ogilvy. All right, so the President of France ate the frog legs and...
The President of France ate my frog's legs, and I'm sorry to say 2 weeks later he died.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about big ideas. Big ideas. Now that's what the advertising business is really all about. I'm going to let you in on some of the ways that I found out to create brilliant campaigns. If you're lazy, you may sometimes luck into creating a big idea, but my advice is to start by doing your homework. Some flashy agencies scorn homework. They skid about on the surface of irrelevant brilliance. Other agencies are good at research and positioning, defining target audiences and so on, but are incapable of creative brilliance. As I see it, we have to do our homework and create brilliant campaigns. Don't be a bore. You cannot bore people into buying your product. You can only interest them in buying it. Study the product. The more you know about the product, the more likely you are to come up with a big idea for selling it. Study the precedents. Look up the campaigns for similar products in recent years. Find out which worked and which didn't work, and then go on better. Study the research, how consumers think about your kind of product, what benefit you should promise them. But don't rely too much on research. A lot of people in our trade use research the way a drunkard uses a lamppost, for support, not for illumination. Get agreement on positioning. Get agreement on your target audience. Get agreement on brand image. Resistance to using good ideas from other countries is almost always due to the not invented here syndrome, NIH. Why should multinational clients employ Ogilvy and Mather worldwide if our offices refuse to borrow from each other? Boil down your strategy to one simple promise and go the whole hog in delivering that promise. The promise should be important and unique. And use research to find out what promise is most persuasive. Look before you leap. Perhaps the single most important word in the lexicon of advertising is test. Always keep testing. Testing new ideas, new headlines, new levels of spending, new media combinations, new kinds of commercials. Test, test, test. Strategy is of paramount importance. But a good strategy can fail if it is badly executed. If nobody looks at your commercials, it won't do you much good to have the right positioning and the right promise. The people who contribute most in our business have a marvelous quality of enthusiasm, gusto, infectious gusto. They're innovative. The beginning of greatness in advertising is to be different, and the beginning of failure is to be orthodox. So-called creative people have no monopoly on good ideas. So be ambitious, raise your sights, blaze new trails, try to make advertising history. You know, what clients want from us is big ideas. Unless your advertising has a big idea, it will pass like a ship in the night. That's what the advertising business is all about, big ideas.
In the advertising community today, there are two worlds. Your world of direct response advertising, and that other world, the world of general advertising. These two worlds are on a collision course. You direct response people know what kind of advertising works and what doesn't work. You know to a dollar. The general advertising people don't know. You know that 2-minute commercials on television are more effective, more cost-effective than 10-second commercials or 30-second commercials. You know that fringe time on television sells more than prime time. In print advertising, you know that long copy sells more than short copy. You know that headlines and copy about the product and its benefits sell more than cute headlines and poetic copy. You know to a dollar. The general advertisers and their agencies know almost nothing for sure because they cannot measure the results of their advertising. They worship at the altar of creativity, which really means originality, the most dangerous word in the lexicon of advertising. They opine that 30-second commercials are more cost-effective than 2-minute commercials. You know they're wrong. In print advertising, they opine that short commercials sell more than long copy. You know they're wrong. They indulge in entertainment. You know they're wrong. You know to a dollar they don't. Why don't you tell them? Why don't you save them from their follies? For two reasons. First, because you're impressed by the fact that they're so big and so well paid and so well publicized. You're even perhaps impressed by their reputation for creativity, whatever that may mean. Second, you never meet them. You inhabit a different world. The chasm between direct response advertising and general advertising is wide. On your side of the chasm, I see knowledge and reality. On the other side of the chasm, I see ignorance